Afternoon, everybody. Here at the ABCs of Home Improvement. I'm Mike Ash. I've got Lee Durario, and I got
Earl Schlick.
There you go, Earl. Just a little word from the man himself. Today's topic that we're going to create will be selecting an architect for any type of remodeling or building project. One of our co-sponsors and owners of the show is Lee Durario. Lee, are you an architect?
Yes.
Are you registered in New York?
I am a registered architect, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and I am nationally accredited through the Accreditation Board, 50 states.
I'm glad you're here today.
And thank you, Mike. I appreciate anchoring here with you. And we're talking about just a review. So last week we went through the process of picking out and designs and photographs, and basically the real key here was the budget, determining what your budget is and making sure that you have a realistic budget that matches the ideas you're trying to come in with. Right, Mike?
Exactly right. That budget and the idea and putting everything together so that you don't get surprised when a project gets started and then you have a day-to-day and idea what's going to be. And if something comes up, you're not talking more than 10, 15% at the outcome of all things.
So, Mike, and like last week we said, you have your composition book with all of your information and all of your pictures and so forth. Now you're ready to go to phase 2, which is finding a professional team to help you with your construction project. An architect can do that. You could go into a builder directly. We here at the ABCs of Home Improvement suggest a process called design build. So what we're going to do today is go through the selection process of an architect who is working in the capacity of a design build participation, where the architect and the builder team together to create a smoother finished product and a smoother process where you can actually save a little bit of money overall because the team is working together to get you a project finished on budget.
You know, it's going to make a big difference to that drawing. I think when they can actually visualize what they're looking at, and then they can actually bid the work and get an idea what's taking place.
Okay, so let's start. Earl, you have anything you want to add there with this?
No, you guys are right on point. Communication is key to keep the project moving and flowing, and that's what it's all about. That the architect, if the builder has a question, if the remodeler has a question, he wants to be teamed up and working with an architect he's comfortable with.
Excellent.
Makes sense, especially the day-to-day problems that go on.
Yes. Well, okay, so let's get back to now if we are...
Let's create a project.
Right. We have our package. Let's say we're going to be doing a second-floor addition on a house, which this is typical type of a project that we're working for.
And we're going to increase living space. What are we increasing? Bedroom space?
Most times with those types of projects, we're looking to increase bedroom space, master bedroom spaces, children's spaces, creating playrooms, computer rooms. So an upper level basically would be on a ranch or a split level or a Cape Cod-style house, and you would reconfigure the lower level now to create more living space that's being used for the day-to-day family events, and then you would create a second floor and eliminate the bedrooms on the lower floors to create living space and create a new sleeping quarter.
Sounds like
upstairs.
a nice house already.
Right, nice house. So let's start our project. We have all our details. We have everything together. How do you go about selecting an architect? First of all, you could call the show and ask for me. That's probably the best way.
That'd be my choice.
If not, you could call my office at 845-351-2600. That would be the second best way. And the third way is going to be the way we describe here today. Selecting an architect, you basically would have to interview a few different architects.
Yep.
And check their references. Now, what does that mean, checking their references?
I would like to look for someone similar type of a job that I'm going to be creating for ourselves.
Okay, so
I would
you
look for someone who does a second-story situation and understands exactly what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so you would find an architect that would be working in the type scale of design and addition you're looking to do.
Someone that's done a number of second-floor additions.
Right. You wouldn't call somebody in Manhattan who's doing high-rise.
I'd be scared to call someone in Manhattan.
You wouldn't call anybody that's out of a 30-mile radius, would you, Mike? You'd want to work with somebody locally.
I would say someone close locally so I can go look at an existing project and get an idea what's happening.
Okay, so
Lee,
that's
hold
good.
on. We got a phone call coming in.
Okay.
Okay, Rich. Who you got? Hello, it's Mike on ABC. Can we help you?
Hi, is this the fellow I was just talking to?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little low for some reason.
A little low?
A little low, yeah. I can barely hear you, to be honest with you. Okay.
Okay.
Who is this and where you calling from?
My name is Jim, and I'm calling from Warwick.
All right.
Hi,
Hey,
Jim.
Jim.
Welcome to the show, ABCs of Home Improvement. How can we help you out today?
Well, that's the main reason. The home improvement is how do you go about choosing a contractor?
Oh, okay.
That's what we're discussing today. Is we went a little closer. We're actually selecting choices of how to make an architect more feasible and selecting the right one for the job.
Right.
Yeah, Jim, what we're trying to accomplish here today is the design build process. So you would be contacting, we are suggesting that you contact a builder architect team. And American Design and Build, one of our sponsors today, is excellent at doing that. They've been in the business for 20 years, and they could actually probably help you with your project over in Warwick. If you want to give us a call at our offices during the day after we get off the air, we could actually help you out with your project. I don't know what type of project you're doing there.
Well, it depends. We really have our plans. We want to go a couple of different ways. You know, we have bathroom, kitchen's got to be done. There's also an addition we're looking at.
Ah, okay. So it's a multi-phase project.
So it had to be really, like you said, this American Design. They have the architects and everything on hand, huh?
Right. So this way, you know, it sort of makes it a one-stop shop, and you get the best service for one fee. Instead of paying an architect separately and then a contractor 15 or 20%, you'd pay maybe 25% overall, but that would include the architect's fee, which is a big one, engineering fee that you might need for surveys and so forth to do the project.
That'd be a major time savings also.
And
Would their
time.
architect be like an in-house architect, one that's working part of American Design, or are they going to go outside?
No, American Design and Build has the, you know, I work with the architects. There's two different architects that we can use in American Design and Build, and it depends on the location.
Right.
So, but we suggest that they call my office.
What's the number?
The number for the office there is 845-351-2600, and we could direct them over to American Design and Build and put the appropriate architect in place for their project.
Okay. What about financing if I decide to go to big project, the whole deal?
Well, we would make mention of a few ways to finance, except our sponsors have not come through yet, so we're not going to throw any bank names at you.
Yeah,
but
no,
we have
okay,
affiliations.
That's fine. I understand that. A home equity would probably be the best bet.
Makes sense, yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then. Good job, then.
Excellent. We appreciate the call, and call back again.
All right, thank you.
Great question.
Oh, there we go, Mike.
Yes, see,
Nice.
someone actually is listening to the
Yeah,
selection that
Warwick.
we're trying to
Okay.
do in the architect choices today.
Well, like we said, let's get back to the process. I mean, again, we're doing a small upstairs addition, you know, maybe 1,000, 1,500 square feet, and we want to select the architect who's done those types of renovations before. We don't really want to get involved maybe with somebody who's specializing in commercial or medical or something like that. You want to work with somebody who's a residential architect and who actually has been doing these for some time.
Someone nearby also would be nice.
Oh, okay, and that's a good point. So when you're interviewing the architect, you're checking the references, which means he'll give you some names of some clients, of some projects, and you'll take a look or you'll make a phone call and see what the people thought about the process they went through, if it was an enjoyable experience or not, and also if the design work was satisfactory to what they're looking to get. Because sometimes you hear stories, and I do in my office. I get the second time around people once in a while who have gone through one architect already, very unhappy. The architect couldn't process the information properly, did not come up with the designs that they wanted, and they spent a lot of money and really came up with nothing. And they
And
started.
how long did they have to wait for those?
And that was 9 months to almost a year, some of them. So
That's outside architects.
right. You know, so if you were working again with a design build firm, Mike, it would be a little easier to make sure that the design was going on track from the start. And this way, before you start doing working drawings, which is the next phase of our discussion, you complete the
I
preliminary.
think before working phases, just so people can understand what the idea is. If they need the space to go upstairs because they're adding children or another situation where whatever it might be for more bedrooms, sometimes they actually have to see other homes that have been done before. Because if you don't realize it's a second floor addition with some of the homes we've done, the bottom line is you wouldn't know it was a second floor addition.
Correct. The ones that we design at Arca Future are integrated 100% into the existing structure, so that the building looks like a completed colonial when it's done, as if it was built that way from the beginning.
And that's what people have to understand. That's why if they call ahead with the idea of what's going on, they can again have a location where to go look at and get some ideas also.
All right, Mike, when we come back, we're going to go on a break now, so we come back, we'll talk about developing a program and why you should use an architect, okay? We are at ABCs of Home Improvement, 11:10 a.m. Give us a call, 651-1110 when we return. Hello, folks. We're back here at the ABCs of Home Improvement with Laborio Durario. That's me, your friendly neighborhood architect. Mike Ash, your kitchen cabinet distributor, and Earl Slick, our energy consultant. Okay, Mike, so let's get back to where we were.
We're talking architectural.
Okay.
We're talking selection. We're talking the people being aware of what they're actually seeing. The point of being able to maybe select from an architect's previous jobs or ongoing jobs, a second floor addition, so they can actually take a look at it. And at that point, that's where we start again.
Okay, so we're starting back in. Earl, what I'd like to do is maybe throw this one over to you. But if you were to, say, do an addition on your house and you were going to select an architect, what's the first thing you would do when you're interviewing the architect? What type of discussion would you have with him?
Well, I'd ask him the projects, and I'd like to see some projects that he's done in the past, so I can go check them out. He would normally have a portfolio or a website in which we can go to and see before and after photographs of projects that he's completed, and check a couple of his references. And I would do that with a few people, a few different architects, and I'd then choose to move forward with the one I'm most comfortable with, the one that makes me feel like they're going to get the job done.
That's excellent. That's a big one. Personality, right, Mike?
I have another thought, though.
Oh, go ahead.
How many architects do you know that are really affiliated with construction companies? They all work for construction companies. They all work for individual people. But how many groups are there, like we're talking about this? The name again, Earl?
Very few.
Very few. American Design and Build.
American Design and Build, 845-283-6763. Give us a call.
Right.
We'll come out. We'll find out. Hopefully by then, like we talked about last week in our show, you put together a plan, you put together a budget. The next step is to have a set of drawings made, and now you can put the project out to bid, and one of the bidders will be American Design and Build.
Correct.
I think a plus, though, to have the two combinations that they're not coming from left field and right field. They're different. They're working together. You know what I'm saying? They don't just put stuff on paper
Right.
that can't
Usually,
be built.
right, when an architect is involved, he works directly with the homeowner, and there's ways that the architect functions. He can function, he just does the drawings. People call them drawings, but they're contract documents. That's the correct
That's right.
words for them. And those documents are the map to construct your addition. So when you're looking to select an architect, he's going to be your spokesman, per se, for if you're going to just hire any contracting company. If you're going to hire a general contractor, or you're going to try and subcontract, which means you will interface with all of the people on that job,
That's a little
multiple
scary.
personalities. Right. Most people don't do that. There are a few wild and crazy people out there
That think they can do it.
start out trying to do that, and then, of course, they call us in to finish up, and it costs them probably 20 to 35% more that way, because they really don't.
Let me just go back to the point, though. I
Okay,
don't
Mike.
know that many people at all that have construction and architectural on staff.
That's
the only
correct.
time I know about is when I deal with large companies. I mean, I do kitchens, I do interiors, I do all types of cabinets. I talk to architects, I talk to builders, but they're on separate avenues and different teams.
Well, this is what we're bringing out. When American Design and Build, Mike, okay, the process is streamlined. Why do you want to do a design build versus a traditional architect/contractor? Design build, again, is going to give you the best professional service in one fee, inclusive. So the contractor's price and the architect's price are rolled into one, and you as the homeowner pay a small fee up front, $2,500, let's say, to get the design process rolling. Say you're going to do a kitchen. Say you're going to do your basement. You're going to need something for permitting. Okay, no matter who does it, and if you don't do it now, we find, and you go to refinance your house later, and the building department sees your basement was finished and it wasn't on the CO, you have all kinds of complications that arise from not filing. So we at American Design and Build, who've been doing this for 20 years, decided we're going to give the homeowner the best shout for their money. And go
One
ahead.
more point I got to bring out. These are the things that bother me with construction. You know, I mean, people go out to an architect, and a lot of things I hear is that by the time they actually go to bid on a job, the pricing, the numbers are not what the architect said.
Again, right.
How many of those architects are in the field on a regular basis and come out of their office from where they're drawing? I mean, how many guys? I mean, they can do hundreds of jobs, but if they don't keep up to date, I mean, the lumber cost factors, the copper factors, all the increase in materials that have gone on this particular year are stagnating, absolutely stagnating.
That's right.
All right,
Petroleum prices fluctuated so much that any petroleum-based product, never mind transporting all products, but petroleum-based products like roofing,
Affected.
siding, everything was up
Affected.
15, 20% in a 2 or 3 month period. So if we had
That's my
estimates out,
point.
right, Mike?
That's my point.
Right.
Now, how many architects understand that on a day-to-day? They understand how to do a roof, how to change a pitch, to do that valley and everything about an exterior roof idea, okay? But to combine the construction cost and the actual work, I think this is amazing that American Design and Build could do something like that.
Well, thanks, Mike. That is what we're trying to accomplish here, is to get to make the experience in the process.
Earl, what's that phone number again?
Earl, what is that?
845-283-6763, American Design and Build.
I'm sorry.
All your building needs, all of them.
But it's just a big deal that people just have to realize all that in one package.
All that in one. Well, we'd like to call it a master building package. Okay, you have, in the old days, the architect was actually the builder as well. He was the master builder. Okay, and it goes all the way back to the Egyptian times. You can say, what does the guy do? The guy did everything. He knew how things went together. He cut stone. He cut lumber and timbers. He walked on the job site. He walked on the timbers. He tied them.
And he knows
nailed them.
what things cost now.
Right, and well, nowadays you have to know what things cost.
Yeah.
But so if you
I'm
have,
sorry to interrupt you. Go back.
that's all right, Mike. I'm trying to get to the programming here of developing a program for your addition. So after you've gone through this process of selecting an architect, and again, we can't reiterate enough, personality. You are going to be, you're going to let this architect, in most cases, represent you throughout this process. So you must be able to get along with this person from start to finish, and he must be able to look for your ideas and concepts and be able to put them together and
Translate on paper.
and translate the entire process on paper and allow you to come up with a budget that meets that design. And once we have that, we can now start developing our program.
I'm on a
our program.
I'm on a project right now that I've worked with you on. This particular lady, she's redoing the entire fascia, the roof, the back.
Yes.
She's doing a new kitchen. You know who I'm talking
That's
about.
Lori.
Yeah,
Lori Russo.
yeah.
We'll throw a shout out to Lori. Hello, Lori.
And that job, I mean, we're all involved with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, everything that you've pulled on that job from cost factors on down, I mean, we were real numbers.
Right, and it's worked
And
out
I'm
very
only
well.
bringing this up a couple of times because most of the architects I work with design well. They just ask for real numbers and they just don't come up.
That's the problem. And these, I'm not going to knock the profession.
I know. I'm just.
Okay,
It
but
just bothers me enough to mention it
We're
twice.
going to
that's all.
say that some architects will design whatever you want them to design for you.
Right.
Unconsiderate
Of price.
Of price, right? So if they're not going to use the price as the determining factor when they're laying out your design and educating you as to what things cost as you go along, you're going to have this big
Unrealistic
albatross
budget,
that will
yeah.
never get built.
Yeah.
And then you come to me and we will refine it back down and get it to where you can build it. And American Design and Build, we like to meet with you, take our consulting fee up front, give you a design and a proposal that meets your budget. You tell us we're looking to do our basement. We have $20,000 to spend. We'll tell you what that money can buy for you. We'll show you a design, and then you can take all that information and go bid it with we always say here at American Design and Build, we're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive. Go get your other prices, but just remember that when it's all said and done,
You have a set of plans almost.
what kind of value are you going to get for your money? And that's really, and then you
Isn't
check
that all
references.
part of the process, though, of picking
Yes.
out an architect?
Absolutely. So let's get into developing the program for the project.
Makes sense.
Okay, so what are the program requirements for something like that? Let's say we're developing meeting the needs of the living requirements, Mike. Okay, this program could be developed by either the homeowner or the architect. Okay, and what that is just writing down the parameters of what you're looking to do and creating a little bubble diagram of how they relate to one another. Very simple, and it can be done in the initial meetings that you have with the architect, or it can be done by you, submitted to the architect, and then he can come back with a concept plan for you. So it can be done.
So you're asking for requirements that need to be fulfilled?
Correct.
How many rooms, how many people, how many things of that nature?
Correct, and you have to prioritize them and define, which ones are more important than others, so that
Who
if
gets
the,
more space than
right,
the other
and if the
person?
budget, and if we say this is too big, we have to slimline and streamline. We have to know where we can make cuts. So as long as you've thought that way as the
You can
homeowner,
also buy a little cheaper carpet, too,
that's it, or eliminate the carpet completely. At American
Area
Design and
rugs
Build,
work pretty
we
good.
like to use hardwood floors.
Yeah.
And also, you got to think about, what's the use going to be 10 years, 10 years down the road while you're doing this addition.
That's very
Look at
important.
the future. What's going to happen in the future? Your kids are getting bigger. The kids are going to be out of the house.
Can I bring my grandkids?
Grandmother,
grandkids.
grandkids. We put Granny in the basement. Maybe Granny's going to go upstairs. We need to provide an elevator for her.
Boy.
You know what I'm saying? So those thoughts go in. And believe it or not, we've done 4 or 5 elevators in small little additions. They run about $8,000 or $10,000, and they're very useful for an elder who's, if you don't have a basement and you have a slab on grade construction, which some of these projects do have. So we can, we can get into that. Earl, what do you think? You're sitting over there. I want to get you in the show here a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's important to examine and identify all the needs up front. And like that, like if you do have, the reason for putting on this addition on this home is because it's time now to take on an in-law or two. And that's why you could need one of those, one of those bedrooms upstairs.
One of the bedrooms upstairs, that's right. Hopefully nobody gets trapped in the elevator. It's a rough rescue there. They're only 5 by 5. Give us a call out there at the ABCs of Home Improvement. We're looking to hear from you about selecting an architect or any of the general questions you might have here. We're at 651-1110 at WTBQ. We're going to take a break now, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, folks. The ABCs of Home Improvement here. Put down your cup of coffee and give us a call at 651-1110. Your encyclopedia for all your home improvement needs. I'm here, Lee Durario from Arca Future, and we got Mike Ash here, a kitchen cabinet representative and salesman and distributor, and we have Earl Slick, our energy consultant, and our sponsor today is American Design and Build. Give them a call for all of your design and build needs. 283-6763, 845-EXCHANGE. Today's topic, again, is selecting an architect and what the architect does for you. And just to recap from the beginning of the show, the first thing was to check exactly what types of projects the guy's done or gal, see if they completed the type of work that you're looking to do, talk to some people, references, neighbors, or people in the area, see some of the work they produced. And then you move forward into the interviewing process. You interview a few people, and again, it all came down to one thing, that they could translate your information to a design that you would like, that will meet your budget, and it will continue forward, and you'll be able to complete the process with the design build firm.
So what's the next process on that?
Okay, so the next process is now we have to create design drawings, preliminary schematics that will be the tools that we need to create the documents to make the construction. So the architect would basically then sit down with the homeowner, come out to their site, and give them
measure?
Not field measure. First, he's going to talk with them and figure out concepts, like we said, the bubble diagrams.
Mm-hmm.
From there, they discuss their budgets. Now, a good architect would know approximate costs and know if their square footage and their needs are going to meet their budget. And at that point, this is where the translation starts to get lost. If you're going to be a good architect and direct the people appropriately, you should tell them if their budget is not in line with the project. This is the first mistake that folks make, is they don't want to hear no, they want to hear yes, yes, yes. But
If it's realistic.
It's got to be realistic. Now we're sitting around the table, we have the bubble diagrams, and we want to...
You don't want to burst their bubble.
No, they don't want to burst their bubble. I'm the first one to tell you if it doesn't meet the requirements, because I don't want your bubble to be burst after you spend $5,000 or $10,000 with me on your planning process, and then you're going to go to another guy and spend the same amount of money to do that with another architect. So American Design and Build, this is why I'm going to get back to this. Mike's got someone on line 1 here. I don't know who's there, Mike. Okay. All right, so what we've got here...
Kitchen customers can wait right now.
Kitchen customers. So we're getting together the design, and what we want to do is try and figure out the budget and the design. We've gotten to that point, so now the schematic drawings are done. We have a computer system that does computer animations, does graphics, so at the preliminary stages, we can get wireframe 3-dimensional drawings up to show you what your concept would look like in 3 dimensions, so there's no guesswork about... I didn't understand, or I couldn't visualize. And if you don't get that concept, we come back with a second or third set of drawings so that you, as the homeowner, will understand the process, understand the design, understand where the money's going. This is a very important part as well, is the Communication, as Earl says over there, must always communicate. And this is something where the architect, since he's been versed in this and schooled in this, goes through it sometimes very quickly, and the homeowner, because they're afraid to say, well, I don't see it or I don't understand. Everybody, again, yes is everybody, and you wind up going through the design process and not really coming up with what the homeowner wants. So we try to, take our time in that step. That's the important, critical step. And if it takes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever.
Sounds like a translation from what they thought they wanted to what they're really getting.
And what they see, what they think they're going to see, and what they really are creating. That's where the architect, again, can direct. So
it's creating like a working drawing, it sounds like to me.
Well, then once those drawings are approved, let's say, and you have those, you have one more phase if you want to, color selections and material selections before you go into the working drawings, because that will also affect the budget. If you want to do stone versus vinyl, or if you want to do a hardy board or a specialized material, a stucco on the exterior versus just a regular vinyl siding, prices could go up 80%, 70 or 80%.
I think that phase gets really touched when they go look at other projects.
And right, so
and they create the little portfolio that they're going to start bringing in at that point too.
Correct. And then we take those textures again after they've come up with the schematic designs, and we see that what that second floor looks like, and they decide, underneath the main floor area, we want to put some stone across, and we'd like to put a little front porch on. Can we see how that looks? Versus we want to do brick and a little portico, just a small little section with 2 columns and a little roof over the center door. So you can give them, at that stage, alternatives, okay? And again, if you work with American Design and Build, okay, there's a flat rate for that type of work, versus if you work with an architect directly, which is going to cost you 3 or 4 times as much to get the same design information. So it always pays, again, to work with a design-build firm. This is one of the advantages of working with a design-build company, is that you know that you're on a fixed rate for your design. Okay, so if you're on a fixed rate for your design, then you know that you can spend a little more time developing a concept and keeping it nice and clean and the way you want it. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because everyone needs the space. They just don't know how it's going to finalize and look. Right. And I think that's a major thing with people who don't do this on a regular basis.
Well, that's why design build for a renovation project is really a great opportunity for a homeowner. Okay, they really should at least look into the process. If you don't understand what the process is, you can go online. You can go into the AIA, American Institute of Architects, and look under marketing and design build services, and you can see what that process entails and why it is a little more advantageous, as well as getting your project done a little faster. So if you're in a time constraint as well, you don't have to worry about the overlap between the architect and the general contractor. You really
there's a big gap in between those two.
That's
times.
Right, and you lose months and months in the communication process, because if the architect is not tied in with the construction management end of the project,
you lose a season.
Yeah, you lose time, and a call to the architect's office could take 2 or 3 days to get back, and then the contractor's gone, and it's a snowball that the next contractor in line falls away, and the next one. So it's like a domino theory. Once the process starts, if you don't have it down, what they call a critical path, okay, which will allow you to keep the contractors in line, starting and finishing, which American Design and Build has become proficient at over the last 20 years. You want to really make sure that the architect is in place for you. If you don't use a design build concept, you can go with the architect as construction manager, and again, he will then interface directly with the contractor and work as a surety to control the funds and control the process.
I think it sounds amazing it's available today.
So, well, and again, it's amazing what you can do with the computers today. We work on Macintosh computers, and we have great animation and visualization tools that we can use, and it all depends on what you want to see and where your budget is, how far you can go with that stuff.
I know, I've seen some of your drawings. It's amazing that they can actually see a final product all done.
Yeah, if they're interested, you can go to our website, www.archifuture, ARCHIFUTURE.com, and you can see some of the work and some of the renovations that we've done, and also some of the animations and visualizations on some of the projects there at the website. And we're under construction, so we have some things that are being changed in the next week or two. If you check us out again, you'll be seeing more things. American Design and Build is also changing up their website for their 20th anniversary. So within a week or two, we should have a bunch of projects up for you folks to take a look at. And I know you're shy out there, but again, 651-1110, We like to give this information out, but we'd like to hear from you out there. Let us know if you're out there. Put down the cup of coffee, get away from the window, give us a call.
Someone's doing remodeling.
Somebody's out there remodeling. We hear the hammers in the background here, so give us a call out there, okay? What do you want to talk about now, Mike? Let's get into the working drawings. You want to go into the working drawings?
I think that's important. That's the actual contract. That's what people have to go look for the people to do the actual work, and they understand what you want.
Okay, so working drawings, okay? Construction documents, drawings, plans, maps. There's all different terms for it. The correct term in the construction field is construction documents. They are your contract documents between the homeowner, the architect, and the builder. And this is the roadmap that is now completed off of your schematic designs to your finalized designs.
Finalized designs,
right?
right.
And now you're going to move forward, and you have to create documents that have to go to the building department.
There's a big gap in between those two
That's
times.
right. And you lose months and months in the communication process because if the architect is not tied in with the construction management end of the project,
You lose a season.
Yeah, you lose time, and a call to the architect's office could take 2 or 3 days to get back, and then the contractor's gone, and it's a snowball that the next contractor in line falls away, and the next one. So it's like a domino theory. Once the process starts, if you don't have it down, what they call a critical path, okay, which will allow you to keep the contractors in line, starting and finishing, which American Design and Build has become proficient at over the last 20 years. You want to really make sure that the architect is in place for you. If you don't use a design-build concept, you can go with the architect as construction manager, and again, he will then interface directly with the contractor and work as a surety to control the funds and control the process.
I think it sounds amazing it's available today.
So, well, and again, it's amazing what you can do with the computers today. We work on Macintosh computers, and we have great animation and visualization tools that we can use, and it all depends on what you want to see and where your budget is, how far you can go with that stuff.
I know. I've seen some of your drawings. It's amazing that they can actually see a final product all done.
Yeah, if they're interested, you can go to our website, www.archifuture, ARCHIFUTURE.com, and you can see some of the work and some of the renovations that we've done, and also some of the animations and visualizations on some of the projects there at the website. And we're under construction, so we have some things that are being changed in the next week or two. If you check us out again, you'll be seeing more things. American Design and Build is also changing up their website for their 20th anniversary. So within a week or two, we should have a bunch of projects up for you folks to take a look at. And I know you're shy out there, but again, 651-1110. We like to give this information out, but we'd like to hear from you out there. Let us know if you're out there. Put down the cup of coffee, get away from the window, give us a call.
Someone's doing remodeling.
Somebody's out there remodeling. We hear the hammers in the background here, so give us a call out there, okay? What do you want to talk about now, Mike? Let's get into the working drawings. You want to go into the working drawings?
I think that's important. That's the actual contract. That's what people have to go look for the people to do the actual work, and they understand what you want.
Okay, so working drawings, okay? Construction documents, drawings, plans, maps. There's all different terms for it. The correct term in the construction field is construction documents. They are your contract documents between the homeowner, the architect, and the builder. And this is the roadmap that is now completed off of your schematic designs to your finalized designs.
Finalized designs,
right?
right.
And now you're going to move forward, and you have to create documents that have to go to the building department for an approval, for a building permit to start your project. Very important, again, home improvement is licensing in certain areas. Always check if there's licensing that's required. Certain projects you may feel don't need to be permitted. And like I said, most building departments now want everything or anything that you're doing to your house.
As long as you have a neighbor, that possibility is there.
To be permitted. So you
Right.
need to permit the job. This is why you need the architect, again, because he is the only one who's allowed to create these documents for you. It's his forte. There is no one else allowed. He's licensed by the state. He has to carry a license. You can always check up at the state and see if there's any complaints or any specialty things you might need to know about the architect that you're going to be working with. And he is allowed to process these drawings. Now, these drawings show many different things to many different trades, but basically it's a roadmap from the foundation, and we're going to take you through this process over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks. We're going to be bringing in foundation guys at the start of the project, and then we're going to be bringing in an electrician and plumber for any of the rough stuff that has to go on.
Framing.
And then we're going to go with the framing and so forth. So we, over the next 4 or 5 weeks, are going to go through the entire process, how to put together a small-scale addition, and who you need to contact, and how you get in touch with people if you want to try and be a rough rider out there and get the project going on your own. But we, again, suggest American Design and Build. That's what we're here to do. We're here to educate the folks about the design-build process, because not many contractors offer that. And a lot of times the contractors will tell you that they have an architect on staff, when really all they're doing is hiring the architect for a short period to do the plans, okay, the construction documents for you, and he will go as the in-between. Now, when you call that architect up for questions, or there's something that you didn't want on those plans, or there's something that may not be going right in the field, that architect is now committed to that builder, because that builder is his client, and he cannot talk to you directly. There's a New York State education law that if you go and talk, if you came to me after a builder had hired me to do your addition plans, and I did those plans, I have to refer back to the builder, ask him if I can contact you. If it's something that is in public safety and health, there's a hazard where something's going to be done and it's going to, there's some sort of safety problem, I am obligated at that point to then come out and say, yes, this is a problem. But other than that, if there's no safety issue, it's a window has to be moved, or something has to happen, there's a change in the planning, I can't help you there. Because you didn't go directly, right, you're not the client. So, and people, again, don't understand that. So they get caught in a hard situation sometimes. And I get called in as a consultant on these, where the builder, I didn't work for the builder or the homeowner, and I have to go in and come up with what are the things that were done improperly and so forth.
That's a tough position.
Very bad. So we try and stay away from that, and that's why, again, we stay with the one-stop shopping. The architect and builder under one roof, getting the best service.
And they actually know each other, too.
Yeah, for 20 years. I mean, that's a good relationship.
Well, it's a big problem out in the field when there's a problem between the homeowner and the builder himself, discussions, and the architect. And when the communication stops, the project stops.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Like you mentioned earlier, it could be days before an architect will get back to the guy on the job site hammering the nails, because this opening says this on the plans, but the homeowner wants it this. And you got to get the architect on the phone. You got to get him out there. And, it could be 3-4 days before he calls the builder back. They might not have such a great working relationship. The homeowner and the contractor could, now that they've been on the job for a few months, not getting along so well. And again, these are things that can stop the job dead in its tracks, and people get sent, all of a sudden, there's nobody there the next day because they've been sent somewhere else to go work.
That's the truth, Bill. That's the truth.
So communication and keeping the job rolling is key, and to have an architect on board on the project, taking phone calls and keeping things moving, keeping things going smooth, then you have a chance to complete your project on time and on budget.
Timely fashion, yep.
Well, that's it. It's called the single point of contact, right? I mean, you want to have one person that you talk to about all the things that are ins and outs of your project, and know that it's going to be funneled down or directed into the right areas, and those things will be then translated into action, which means time is going, things are moving, and
this is a very big point. You have to understand, architects and builders are two separate people working together on a particular group like American Design and Build. It's an amazing factor. It's not done that often, and to do it well is something special.
That's right, and it's always nice. We have the technical skill, we have the team together, we have good experience here. But I'm going to say, like we did the last week, is that you always have to plan for a crisis. Okay, whenever you're doing these home improvement projects, there's always an opportunity that something's going to arise that's out of the ordinary. And the key here is that American Design and Build is equipped to take care of those problems. We know how to do that because we've been doing it for 20 years. So there's nothing that we probably have not seen. Unfortunately, the homeowner doesn't want to see it when we find these items, but when you're working in the renovation process or the home improvement business and trying to keep everything to a budget, we always say 15% or so, keep it back for these unforeseen conditions, these crisis situations that you never know what could arise. And most of the times, the things are visible that you can see, but a few times...
I'll give you a good example.
Go ahead, Mike. Let's hear.
Go back to Lori's job right now.
Okay.
The one that we're just about finishing up with. There was a unforeseen situation called termites.
Correct. See, and
And
now,
that thing, I mean, you can't stop them. You have to correct the problem before you continue.
and the building department will not allow you to
Well,
go.
you have to correct the problem before we can continue.
When did you find the termites?
As soon as we opened up a wall.
Okay. See, I like to fish.
Right. That's
And
it.
before I can fish, naturally I have to bait my hook.
There you go, Earl.
So what do? I open up the can of worms.
That's it.
So when we start open up someone's home and tearing down some walls, you find a can of worms. And if you're not equipped to deal with it and move forward, and again, it goes back to the planning process, the budget process,
Correct.
and now the construction process, and having an architect on board that all of a sudden I could pick up the phone, I could say, Lee, you got to get out here. We got a problem. You know, Lee will tell me whether he can be out there right away or
It's
not.
not a problem, Earl. It's a delay, basically.
well-
It's a delay. Well, listen, let's hold on to the polls here for a minute and keep that can of worms handy. We're going to go on a break here. Give us a call at 651-1110. Before we go off here, we'd like to hear from you. Okay, welcome back. Lee Durario, Arc of Future, your friendly neighborhood architect, 845-351-2600. Here today with, go ahead, Mike.
I'm Mike Ash. I'm a supplier of kitchen cabinets and more, and you can always reach me at 914-525-8100.
Earl Slick, American Design and Build, 845-283-6763.
Well, folks, we're going to be wrapping up today with the selection of the architect. We went through the process of how to qualify the architect and what you need to look for. Then we went through the preliminary design process of how to lay out your second floor addition or your basement addition or whatever addition you're looking to do. Then we went to the process of working drawings, which is the next phase of documentation that's needed to file for a building permit to get your project rolling
Building
along.
permit.
Now we have some fun. The building departments. They know Lee Durario at these building departments up here and out there in northern New Jersey, because we've done many projects in these areas. The problem that you might have when you go to file for these applications, that most of the times will arise if you're doing any sort of an addition, is this thing called floor area ratio. And I'm not going to get specific on it, but what it basically entails is nowadays the building departments and the local zoning and planning offices have decided that the density in certain areas has become critical, and if you're going to be adding on to your building, your house, they are only allowing a certain percentage of your lot, okay, of your square footage of the land underneath the building to be built. And from that point forward, you need something that's called a variance. So part of the process up front at the beginning that we do at American Design and Build, and that I work and do with American Design and Build, is a screening for the zoning information prior to the start of the project. So again, we never mentioned that at the beginning, but one of the things is called an investigation, which we like to do before we even start any process, and that is to go to the building department in your area and check the local zoning requirements prior to the start of any design work. And we didn't want to leave that out. That's very important. Most guys do leave that out. And a good architect, a competent architect, will advise you to get a survey of your property, okay, and let's find out and make sure we're in compliance with all the zoning before we even start designing this project. So going back a few steps, that would be the first thing. It's called an investigation, and you should ask any architect who's coming out to look at your project to do this investigation for you, or you as the homeowner, if you feel savvy enough, can get out there with your survey, go speak with the building inspector in your municipality and ask him the particulars about what you're looking to do, and he will give you something that's called a bulk chart, and that gives you your front setbacks, your sides, all the setbacks around the building that are required by law, plus the coverage areas and so forth that you need to comply. If there's anything that is outside of those limits, you need to go for something that's called a variance. And most people don't want to go through that process unless it's really necessary. So part of the design...
Is that a lengthy process?
That's lengthy, and it's money, and it's aggravation,
Time-consuming,
and if you have a neighbor who really doesn't like you, you may not get through. So
I just wanted to just tickle that a little bit.
right. So what we at American Design and Build try and we propose is that if we see there is a zoning conflict and that there's going to be an issue, we can suggest alternative designs that will meet the criteria of the zoning and hopefully meet your design criteria so that you don't have to go through that 3 to 6 month appeal process and public hearings and so forth.
That's nice to hear up front, though, right away.
Right. So this isn't a thing that I had it on my list here. It was covered underneath a bunch of papers, but I wanted to bring that up before we got into filing for the building permit. Because, as I said before, I have been brought into some of these building projects where they have gone to another architect, they have gotten plans, they have their survey prepared, they file it, and they throw the plans back at them and say there is no zoning information on these plans. And they don't understand what that means because most homeowners are not familiar with this stuff. So the question becomes, who is responsible for that? Sometimes the engineer who does the site work is, sometimes the architect. But in my book, the architect is always responsible for checking the zoning information and enlightening the client to the situation that they might create by the new design and giving them an alternative choice if perhaps they don't want to move ahead with the variance. Some people will go for the variance because they want the house to look a certain way and they want the square footage and they have what's called a hardship and they can move forward on that. But most people prefer to eliminate that process and work within the parameters of the zoning in their area.
Well, knowing up front what the situation is, you can make a choice.
That's right.
Having the option.
Having the option and always leaving right. That, again, is what American Design and Build is doing, having the technical skill and experience to be able to give you all the information you need.